Hi, I'm Indigo and I'm 28 years old. I'm honestly still reeling from the recent events in my life. My family has always had some drama, and recently a lot of stuff went down, but to tell you what happened, I need to give you some background information. I grew up in a typically normal family. Every one of us, my parents and I, were pretty chill, all except my older sister Azalea, who was a different story. Azalea, oh boy, where do I even begin with that girl? She was like a wild tornado tearing through our family. You know those stories about the black sheep of the family? Well, Azalea took it to a whole new level. She was always the rebellious one, breaking all the rules and doing things her way. Our parents couldn't control her, no matter how hard they tried. Late night parties, questionable friendships, romantic partners, and a general disregard for authority and responsibility became her trademark. But the real bomb dropped when she got involved with a married man. Yeah, you heard that right. Talk about a major betrayal. Our family was blown to pieces by the community. We became pariahs. The scandal was so big that it reached national news because of all the married men she wanted to canoodle with. She chose a pretty prominent one. Trust shattered. Hearts broken. It was a mess, to say the least. After that, things went from bad to worse. Azalea went off the rails completely, partying harder, making even riskier choices, and alienating anyone who tried to get close. She was even dabbling in some not-so-legal substance abuse, which still pains me to this day. It was like watching a train wreck in slow motion, and we were all just left shaking our heads in disbelief. Our parents couldn't handle the pain, obviously. They distanced themselves from Azalea, cutting her off, not because they stopped loving her, but to protect their sanity. Can you blame them? It was a matter of self-preservation at that point. I was very angry with my older sister. I used to look up to her. But time and time again, she'd break my trust and my heart when she'd try, and use me as a scapegoat or involve me in her irresponsible behavior. I tried time and time again to rekindle a relationship with her, but she'd refuse, only ever needing me when she needed money for drugs or because she had no place to stay. I too decided to formally cut her off not long after my parents did, because she wasn't going to use me for her gain. Sadly, a couple of years passed and my father passed away. The news was so shocking, and I was so sad because he didn't even get the chance to say goodbye to one of his children, estranged or not. I was trying to reach out to Azalea despite everything that had happened. I thought maybe, just maybe, this would be a moment when our family could put aside the past and come together in the face of loss. Maybe, just maybe, something good could be bred out of my dad's passing. But boy, was I wrong. When I called her and asked if she would come to the funeral, her response was like a slap in the face. She said she had better things to do. Can you imagine? Our own father's funeral, and she couldn't be bothered to show up? The anger boiled inside me, and I let loose on the phone. Azalea, please! Just put aside your selfishness for once and come to Dad's funeral. It's the least you can do to honor his memory. Oh, how touching! The prodigal daughter returns, begging for my presence at a funeral. Sorry, Indigo, but I've got better things to do than waste my time on that. You have no respect. Dad is gone, and all you care about are your selfish desires? How can you be so heartless? Azalea, true to form, fired back with her usual indifference. She scoffed and said, "Why would I waste my time on that? I've got a life to live." That was it. That was the final straw. I felt so stupid for believing that she'd change. I made up my mind right then and there that I never wanted to see or hear from her again. The pain of losing our father was already unbearable, and her callousness only made it worse. This isn't about you, Azalea. It's about paying our respects and coming together as a family in our time of loss. Can't you see that? Oh, how noble of you, Miss Perfect. Always playing the dutiful daughter. Well, count me out. I won't be a part of your little charade. You know what? Fine, don't come. I don't want you there anyway. You've proven time and time again that you don't care about anyone but yourself. Suit yourself, Indigo. Have fun mourning Daddy without me. That's exactly what I plan to do. And when this is all over, don't ever expect to hear from me again. I'm done with you, Azalea. Whatever, Indigo. Good riddance. And with those words, the line went dead. The anger and disappointment welled up inside me, mixing with grief of losing our father. It was clear that Azalea's absence would leave a void, but at that moment, I knew it was a void I had to accept, forever this time. The day of the funeral arrived and people gathered to pay their final respects, but there was still no sign of Azalea. I told my mom about our fight, and she said that she'd sorted out, but it seemed as though she had failed. Azalea was nowhere to be seen. It hurt, you know, to see the absence of a sister who should have been there supporting us in our time of need. After the burial, my mom and I returned to my home, coupled with some close friends and family members to continue the funeral. Instead of grieving slowly and quietly as we intended, something horrific burst through the door. There she was, stumbling through the door wearing a bright pink mini dress that clashed with the somber and black atmosphere. It was as if she had been out partying, completely intoxicated, and to top it all off, she started spewing nonsense, adding insult to injury. Azalea stumbled into the house completely wasted. She knocked over some glasses, breaking them and causing a total ruckus. It was a hot mess, and I wasn't having any of it. We started yelling at each other, making a scene that had everyone cringing. Seriously, Azalea? What the hell are you doing? This is not the time or place for your drunken shenanigans. Oh, come on, Indigo. Dad wouldn't want us all sulking. Let's celebrate his life, damn it. Celebrate? Are you freaking kidding me? Can't you see how freaking inappropriate this is? Show some respect for once. Respect? Easy for you to say, Miss Perfect. You've always been the goody two-shoes, haven't you? Don't you dare start with me, Azalea. Our voices clashed, filled with frustration and years of pent-up anger. The room was tense, and it felt like our relationship hit rock bottom. Just when things couldn't get any worse, our mom stepped in and dragged us both to my room, trying to salvage some dignity and have a private conversation. Girls, enough is enough. Let's talk like adults and find some common ground. Fine, let's talk, but don't expect rainbows and unicorns. Suddenly, my mom and I heard sobbing. It was coming from Azalea. I'm sorry, Mom. Indigo, I've screwed up so many times. You already know that. I need help. Serious help. And Dad's passing made me realize how lost and lonely I've truly been. I've missed you guys for a long time, actually. But my pride and stubbornness wouldn't let me. I'm a wreck. Everyone knows that. But I want to change. I want to do better. It might be too late for me to reconcile things with Dad, but I'm hoping it's not too late for us. My mom softened at her words. Although she and my dad decided to cut her off all those years ago, I could clearly see that as a mother, being without her child was tearing her apart. I, on the other hand, needed some convincing, but seeing my sister's face crumple with anguish, whether it was directed at herself, her circumstances, or both, made me soften too. Finally, I said, Azalea, if I'm being honest, I don't know if I can believe you anymore. But seeing you like this, owning up to your mistakes, at least it's a start. The weight of the past seemed to lift as we hugged, tears streaming down our faces. It was a bittersweet moment of reconciliation, a fragile bridge built over years of hurt and misunderstandings. At that moment, I realized that family, despite all the crap, could find healing and forgiveness. So after the funeral, things seemed to be looking up for Azalea. She decided to move back in with Mom, and for a while it seemed like she was doing well. Mom would call me every now and then, giving me updates on Azalea's progress and how proud she was of her for making positive changes in her life. It was a glimmer of hope, you know. But then, just when we thought things were finally settling down, my mom called me in a panic one day. She sounded worried and distressed, and I could tell something was seriously wrong. "Mom, what's going on? Why are you so panicked?" "Indigo, it's Azalea. She's gone. And she took Dad's credit cards, jewelry and clothes, and even raided our pantry. I woke up to this mess and found a note from her. I have no idea where she went." "Are you serious, Mom? After all that has happened? She pulls another stunt like this? I can't believe it." "I don't know what to do, Indigo. She's caused so much trouble, and now I'm worried about the credit cards. What if she racks up huge debts?" "Take a deep breath, Mom. We'll handle this. I'm the representative of Dad's estate, and it's my responsibility to protect his assets. I'll contact the credit card companies immediately and let them know to begin deactivating Dad's account." "Thank goodness you're here, Indigo. I don't know what I would do without you. I feel so betrayed and hurt by Azalea's actions." "I understand, Mom. It's a tough situation, but we'll get through it together." "Thank you, Indigo. I appreciate your help and support. It's times like these when the family needs to stick together." How typical. Once again, I was feeling stupid for trusting that idiot again. I wanted to hold on to hope, but clearly I was wasting my energy. I had had enough of Azalea hurting this family. She had really broken Mom's heart with her actions, and I was ensuring that she would pay for her foolishness. "It's a shame that we have to protect this family from another family member." "What family member? She is dead to me. I'm just glad that she changed her name all those years ago, and so she isn't officially tied to us anymore. Good riddance." I was shocked to hear these words coming from my mom. She must have been well past her breaking point. Although it was shocking to witness my mom act this way, she did give me an idea when she said Azalea changed her name many years ago as part of her rebellious act to distance herself from us. It had been a month since Azalea's shocking disappearance and her despicable act of stealing from Mom and Dad. I couldn't believe what I was seeing on her social media. She was flaunting her lavish lifestyle, clearly enjoying what she was buying from the credit cards she stole. If you thought that was bad, she even started tagging both Mom and me in her posts, as if she wanted us to see how carefree and extravagant she was being. Azalea was clearly seeking attention with her behavior, tagging us in every post, hoping to get under our skin. But we weren't going to stoop to her level. We knew that engaging with her would only fuel her ego and validate her attention-seeking tactics. So we remained silent, refusing to dignify her actions with any response. Then, one day, out of the blue, I received a call from Azalea. I was reluctant to even answer, but I gotta say, part of me was really curious about what she had to say, so I answered. She sounded smug and arrogant, taunting me for not acknowledging her posts or commenting on her extravagant spending sprees. But I stayed calm and nonchalant, refusing to give her the satisfaction of a reaction. "Hey there, Indigo. Long time no talk. I've noticed you've been quiet lately, ignoring all my fabulous posts." "Oh, hey, Azalea. Yeah, I've been busy focusing on more important things. Your posts didn't really catch my attention." She was clearly irritated at this point. "What's your deal? Why are you so calm about everything? You should be furious with me." "Look, Azalea, your actions speak for themselves. I'm not going to let your behavior control my emotions. I've chosen to move on and prioritize honoring Dad's memory instead of getting caught up in your reckless antics." Azalea started shouting at me on the phone, calling me every nasty word in the book, but still, I didn't retaliate. I didn't fight back. I let her have her diva moment, knowing that she'd be receiving a rude awakening pretty soon. "You think you're better than me, don't you? Well, guess what? I've spent a whopping $20,000 on Dad's credit cards. I couldn't help but laugh. This sent her even further down the spiral of anger. Azalea, your attempt to provoke me won't work. Your actions only reflect poorly on you. I've moved beyond letting your behavior affect me. I'm focused on protecting Dad's legacy and finding peace within myself. Yeah? Good luck doing all of that rainbow pretty BS when you and Mom have to scrounge up the funds to pay off my debts? Ha! How do you feel about this? Honestly, Azalea, I feel sorry for you. What? Why? Because you have no idea what you've just done. Azalea was huffing and puffing, talking about how I had no idea what I was talking about, but it was her who had no idea. I started explaining how ever since she ransacked Mom and Dad's place, I began processing the account deletion of my dad due to his passing. The credit card companies advised us that the card might still be usable during this time and that no purchases should be made whilst this process is being conducted. I then told the people that they should rest assured that Mom and I won't be using the card at all, and that if they notice any activity from anyone, it is from a fraudster or a thief. What? You didn't tell them that there was another person in the family? What are you talking about? You're not part of this family. I could tell that the words I said smacked her right across the face. I'd never witnessed her so speechless before in my life, which is saying something because that girl can definitely run her mouth like a faucet. What do you mean I'm not part of this family? I mean just that, Azalea. You've made it clear to us time and time again that you don't love us. You don't even want us. You changed your name. You deliberately tugged at our hearts during our time of mourning just to blindside us and dupe us, which was probably your plan all along, huh? Oh, cat's got your tongue now, huh? Anyways, I told the people at the bank that if they suspect any suspicious activity occurring after I put in the request for the account deletion, they should deal with it accordingly because it has nothing to do with Mom and me. So what are you saying? I'm saying that when you're unable to pay the debt, because let's face it, you won't be, you'll be dealing with the authorities. Indigo, how could you do this to me? No, Azalea, how could you do this to me? To your mother? How could you sleep in her home and do her dirty like that? How could you disgrace your father who can't even rest because of you? Do you not realize how selfish you are? Okay, so I'm the bad guy, right? I mean, that's what you people have always told me, so why not just report me to the police sooner? Why am I finding out about all of this now? Because watching you fall from your high horse would be much sweeter, darling. I didn't want to give you the heads up. I wanted you to be completely blindsided, but now I see that there's no point in that. You deserve to know that your days of freedom are limited, and very soon you'll be in the pen, and there's nothing you can do about it. Azalea began to cry on the phone, and I just sat in silence waiting for the pity party to be over. But you know I can't pay this back. I'm going to go to jail. Yeah? Well, you probably should have thought about that before doing the stupid crap you're doing. Indigo, I'm so sorry. Save it. I don't want to hear anything else from you. I never want to hear from you again. And by the way, yes, prison orange is so not your color. Before she could respond, I hung up the phone. I did a little happy dance and I waited for the eventual news of Azalea's arrest. As luck would have it, Azalea was arrested the very next day. The authorities took her to the station, and according to the buzz that was going around my county, Azalea was putting up a fight, denying everything, including the fact that the police found copious amounts of drugs in her house. She was digging herself a deeper grave with all that denying because the judge increased her sentence after she pleaded guilty. I will never understand why people plead guilty when there is undeniable evidence, but anyways. My mom and I rejoiced when we heard of Azalea's verdict. We were hoping to breathe, at least for a couple of years, before Azalea blessed us with her destruction. I was hoping that a few years locked up would do her some good and teach her some much-needed discipline, but it seems like getting a well-behaved Azalea wouldn't be happening for a long time, because she would apparently cause a ruckus in her prison cell, even badly beating one of her inmates. The judge said that there would be years added to her sentence due to her insolence in the pen. My mom and I have decided to put everything behind us, for real this time. We can't keep going back and forth with this girl. Enough is enough. Whenever we'd get calls from the prison, we'd reject them, refusing to even speak to her, in case she tried to slither her way back into our lives again. My mom and I are even considering moving to a different state just so that we can be away from her. We don't even want her to have the opportunity to make one of her unwarranted visits once she gets out. And besides, after Dad's passing, I'm sure my mom wants a change of scenery as well, so we've seriously been considering moving away from all the mess and drama that's happened in our lives. It's such a shame that things ended for Azalea this way, but I was just glad that I finally managed to get my revenge on Azalea from all those years ago. I'm glad that I let her dig her own grave deeper and deeper into debt because of her foolishness. I just hope that some part of her has learned her lesson, but if not, I definitely know that I'm done caring about her in any way, shape, or form at this